Hey there viewers, welcome back to Ray of All Trades. Today we're going to be working on our Craftsman air compressor. The pressure switch locked in the on position. I'm guessing it just arced together or something like that. My pressure got up to about 180 pounds and then the pop-off valve went. That's how I knew it went bad. I ordered the exact same part. Looked it up on the model number right here. Good compressor. It's a belt drive. It's nice and quiet. I really like it. Let me get the water out of the bottom of this thing that accumulates on all of them and bleed the pressure off at the exact same time, because the air pressure and the water is all going to come out. Right now my gauges are reading pretty low. A lot of my pressure has already been bled off, but I've got a little bit residual so that I can get that out of there. Turning this valve facing that way counterclockwise. Let's get a pan to catch the water. So that one's stopped up, so next step is going to be then get a wrench, and you can see like one drop just came out. Let me get a wrench and take this loose, because otherwise it's going to be a long time trying to get this pressure out of here. So keep in mind, this valve right here allows it to be controlled coming out of there. When I take this plug out of here, it's actually going to come out really quickly. My gauges are showing 20 pounds of pressure. So I fully suspect that either the gauge is wrong or I've got a blockage here. So I ended up having to pull out that bottom plug and use a wire, get some of the rusted and stuff out of the way. A whole lot of water, rust, corrosion, whatever has come out of that thing. So shame on me, should have done a better job of keeping up on it. It's cleaned out the best I can. Well, it's emptied the best I can, not really cleaned out. So let's get this valve changed out and see what it takes to get that done. All right, first things first, make sure your power is unplugged. Okay. You don't have to take this off. I'm just doing this merely for the video so that you guys can get a better image of what's going on here. Just pull that cover off real fast. Alright, so the compressor is building pressure and it's coming up out of this stem and coming up through here, supplying air, and then you have a regulator which says this is how much pressure is available in the tank and this is how much pressure I'm going to allow to come out this valve. So that's the regulator. This is just merely a standpipe coming up out of here. When this pressure switch senses enough pressure, it turns the power off and on through a contactor. This is your manual way of doing that. This was not working. That had actually arced itself together, which I've seen that before. I'm not exactly sure what this feedback pipe is for. Maybe if you guys know, drop it down in the comments. Just quickly take a picture of what you got so that you can put it back the same exact way. Looks like the one coming from under the motor over here is the one that went to the top terminals. Okay. And then the one on the bottom terminals was coming from the power cord. So 5/16 on this one, and it's merely just a cable clamp. And we've got a ground terminal. Here. I know we want to be able to unscrew this off of here, which means that this feedback, whatever it's for and called, needs to come off of there. Something to consider: if a compressor was literally just running, these will get very, very hot, enough to burn the cable hot, burn your skin hot. If you happen to be taking a shortcut and taking this off right after trying to use it, it's going to be extremely hot. It looks like I got some corrosion up in there too. So the reason I know this one's bad, these contacts, even when it was running, I could not shut this off manually when it was running. So basically those contacts had arced themselves together. Probably could take this apart. It's got a security Torx there. Probably could take this apart, clean the contacts, and maybe get another, bit of time out of it. But I'll be honest with you, this compressor hasn't received a whole lot of TLC from me over the years, and it has done me very well. I don't mind throwing a little bit of money at it. What did they give us here? It looks like they gave us a couple of wire strain reliefs, a new ferrule connector for this side, a new switch here. There's a couple of ground screws and a couple of spade lugs in there. And if I compared these two, the other ones came through the back side. I think the new one's going to come through this side. And it is missing Teflon tape, and I got to get this off of here. So let's get this swapped over to here, get some Teflon tape on this, and get these cleaned up and get it back together. This was the pressure pop-off valve that once it reached so much pressure, it just started pushing out this valve. Pretty snug. I'll tighten this down until this is lined up on this side, and I'm going to hold that pipe, the stand pipe, until I'm done turning everything, so that I'm not putting undue stress on any of the joints. That's getting pretty snug, so I think this will be my last turn. I'm trying to eyeball it till it's just about perfect. Thread on this pipe. Doesn't have to be over tight, just snug it up. That ferrule connector is doing the work. It's basically squeezing around that circumference of that and mashing it together as snugger it goes. Okay, we need to be able to use these tabs and put that ground screw right there for it. Okay, according to the diagram here, what's etched into the plastic, the two bottom ones go to the motor, which would be here. The two top ones go to the line, which is coming from the wall. Now, something strange here. I cannot use this plug on this side because this pipe would be hitting whatever wire that is, and it'll burn right through it. Like I said, this gets really hot. So that's not going to work. We're going to do something I really always hated doing, but sometimes you have to. Use a drill to tap. That's the absolute quickest way to break a tap. But occasionally that's all you have. So coming from the motor is going to be the two bottom contacts. It doesn't really matter which one's neutral, which one's hot. Just I try to keep them the same. It is AC current, but just try to keep them the same. So white on one side, black on the other. Remember I was talking about how this pipe gets hot or this pipe gets hot? That's what that burn mark's from. I'm guessing it was not touching this one. Black over on this side, which is your hot. Neutral on this side. Okay, on this clamp, that's the big side, that's the little side. So I had to move my wires up, switch the sides real quick. Just gonna put this in, try to make it match up where it was. And then based on the instructions, excuse me, this is your cut in pressure, and then this right here is your cut out pressure. So cut out, I would assume, is going to be once we hit 100 and on this one it's usually 140 pounds I usually shut off. In for increase and out for decrease. And then this one right here should be my cut in pressure, and I'm assuming that this is going to make sure it kicks on once it drops below 100 pounds, something like that. So because you always want to have, well, I always want to have 90 pounds feeding this right here. So I need to stay above the 90 mark. So probably 100 to 140 is probably my in and my out. So this is a T20, and this looks like a flathead screw. So let's see what we have. So when I go to plug this in, this is going to be live AC voltage. So we're going to stay away from those, and we'll be very, very careful around those. But I'm going to get a T20 and a flathead screwdriver, and we're going to adjust based off of our gauges. Alright, so it looks like it brought it up to 150. I am losing a little bit of pressure somewhere. Just spray a little bit of soapy water. I'm actually leaking down here, something I never even touched. So the way I'll end up fixing that is I'm going to have to pull off this connector, this connector, this connector, and get that fixed. Anyway, so let me bleed some air off of this thing and see if it kicks on right around 100 pounds. Turned it off in the sweet spot, right? Look like it kicked on at about 110, and we already know that it shuts off at about 150. So I've got it right between those two, and I turned it back on. So it's not going to kick on until I drop to about 110. See the gauge. Well, that's 110. This right here most likely will kick on. this cover back on. So our pressures are adjusted. I didn't have to adjust anything, but like I said, this should have been my cut in pressure, and this would have been my cut out pressure. According to the instructions, that's what it is. I need to notch this plastic. This is my old cover. My new cover, I'd have to cut both in there. So this one here already has one. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut one of these out. If I were to clean this, there's a couple of contacts right in here, and those contacts are burned. I can see them plain as day. When I pull that out, you can, well, I can see arcing down in between these plates. I'm gonna do this just to show you guys. You can pull this spring out of here. I'm probably gonna lose the spring because I'm not being cautious with it. Again, I don't really care because I don't need this anymore. Anyway, pull that spring out of there. That's what holds that contact. And the contact should turn to the side. Okay, once that contact turns to the side and pulls out, I don't know if y'all can see all the pitting and everything where they were making contact. So basically these two had welded together. It wouldn't let the compressor shut off. So even though doing this, it did nothing. Wouldn't let it shut off. So, and it's basically this, these contacts right there, and it's just terrible pitting and carbon all over them. So probably could have cleaned this, but I mean, you can see the soot and everything else on here. Potentially could have cleaned those and everything would have been fine, but realistically, I use this compressor all the time. So you guys got something out of the video, really appreciate a thumbs up or a subscribe. Both help the channel tremendously. You don't like something about it, leave me a comment. Let me know how I can improve. So, or something else you guys want to see. Appreciate you guys hanging out, taking the time. Catch you on the next one.